Hello, VJ.
I
How are you this morning?
I am
Afternoon.
doing fine. I just want to make sure we are live. Do you have some place where you can check whether we are live? I'm sure we are live. Um, just confirming. Oh yes, I've got a notification here. So we looks like we are live.
Excellent.
Yep.
Let's just check.
Yes. We're
Just
about
checking
30.
that we're a bit early. Oh, we're a minute to go.
Yeah, we are a minute early, and I think it's just good practice to do that, I believe.
Oh,
Especially with the oh yes, I've just got a message from Parikshit. You both are live. Thank you, Parikshit. That is very nice of you to confirm that we are live. Yes, I have it here as well, 219 attendees. So, how have you been otherwise, Rebecca? Before we start, I think we still have a few, just less than a minute.
well, as you know, VJ, I am taking a holiday next week. So, as we will be talking about in our session today, the importance of self-care and taking a break, recharge those batteries, and come back fighting fit, firing on all four cylinders. So I'm
We
looking forward to
absolutely need that. Yes,
that.
I think well deserved, Rebecca. I know these first 6 months are almost, I know we are almost coming to the end of 6 months, but the first 6 months of this year have been a roller coaster ride. I can imagine it's not been easy. And yes, we've had our twists and turns along the way.
Yeah, very sadly, VG, as you know, my amazing dad passed away, and we saw him suffer an illness over those last 6 months. But yes, it'd be nice to recharge and take a
Yeah.
break. I'm going to Rhodes, VJ, and they are in a heat wave there of 40 degrees.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
40 degrees. Oh, wow. Okay.
Anyway, let's
All
go.
right.
We should
All right.
crack on.
Let's kick off this event. And for everyone who have joined here, a very warm welcome. Thank you very much for joining us for this particular different event altogether. You might have heard about purpose. We talk about vision, but today we want to talk about something which is going to really not only give you a different perspective, but it's going to give you a different level of clarity altogether. And the impact it's going to make in your journey is going to be at another level. And that is what we promise and commit to in this particular event. Now, you might be wondering to begin with, is that what do we really mean by true north? And, we've been debating over this. And let me just give you this analogy of the differentiation between a purpose, vision, and true north. So the why, say there's a mountain, and the why, the purpose would be why you want to climb that mountain. So it's about your business, it's the why in your business. The vision is being on top of the mountain, which is your outcome. And true north is basically the guiding principle of how you're going to climb that particular mountain. So it sort of culminates and aligns the vision and the purpose and your values in such a manner that you have the right moral compass to climb that particular mountain. I hope that sort of resonates with you, and it just gives you a little bit of a perspective of why it is so important, because you'll have clarity, and clarity is everything in my opinion. And that's what Rebecca and I, we always emphasize on, is having two things, which is simplicity and clarity. So let me just give you a little bit of a starting point here, is that what we are going to do for you to break this down further, we are going to share this laser acronym. And laser stands for leadership, accountability, self mastery, energy, and resilience. So let me repeat that: leadership, accountability, self mastery, energy, and resilience. So this is what we are going to really break it down further, and we'll deep dive into each one of them so that you get a different perspective altogether. and how you can move forward. So, Rebecca, I'll pass it over to you. Maybe you want to add points to this and share some benefits.
Yeah, there are many benefits for having your true north established, and I think the key one is that it sets the tone for the business, and also it helps you to make your strategic development, your strategic thinking easier, because you've got this clear compass, you've got this clear direction that you're heading in. So it helps with that, and it also helps to make your decision making process easier, because you want to check that it's in alignment with your true north and your vision. So those are two key reasons. Now, in preparation for this session, I had a look at a few companies' true norths, and we'd love to make this session engaging and participative. We can't see you, but you can leave us messages and we can respond to those. But do you know whose true north this is? To create a better day, to create a better everyday life for many people. Now, we've probably all got some of their products in our home. I know I have, but I certainly didn't have any attempt at putting this product together, because that's just not my skill set. So if you've got any guesses as who you think that might be, we can check our phones and see that your message coming through. But anyway, that's IKEA. That's their true north statement. And what about this one? We're in business to save our home planet. This is a very ambitious statement. And this is by a very well-known outdoor clothing manufacturer. So that's Patagonia. So they've got some very clear statements, and they have come from developing their true north and then encapsulating that in a statement. What we're going to be taking you through today is deciding on your key guiding principles that you can then put into a true north statement. So Vijay, shall we dive into the first one, leadership?
Yes, let's go for it. By the way, before I just enter into leadership, please let us know where you are from. I mean, interact with us. We'll be taking questions towards the end. And by the way, we'll be even sharing this game changing workbook at the end of this particular session. And I must apologize in advance if I can't share it while we are live. I will definitely share in the feed later on because I'm trying to juggle around with the different devices, so please bear with me. But there is a workbook that you'll get towards the end which will help you to craft an amazing leadership style and now basically leadership is no longer about a title, or it's no longer about a position, or it's no longer about just fame or anything on those lines. And leadership is all about a higher purpose. As we know, it's about something else. And again, I wouldn't even say it's just influence as such. It's more than that. We need to rise above the noise as well. And just recently, one of this I was coaching an executive, and she was asking me that how can I really have this positioning in what she was doing. And the problem is that yeah, the issue here is it's not about the positioning, it's about making sure what your true north is and what your purpose is and what your vision is. If you have that clarity, that's where you're going to get the impact. The other thing that I want to share as far as leadership is concerned is having that curiosity. And where does curiosity come from? It comes from asking incisive questions. So when you ask incisive questions, that is when you'll be able to elevate your intelligence at the end of the day. So that is very important as well. And finally, it's about having that empathy, recognizing people, your team members as well, and also emotional intelligence, having that emotional intelligence moving forward. So I'll pass it over to you, Rebecca, to add to these few points, and maybe I'll share a story towards the end if that's fine.
Vijay, one thing we have always said is that leadership isn't about titles. And that's something that Simon Sinek says. And there's a great statement from him that says, leadership isn't about being in charge, but it's about taking care of those in your charge. And I think I really love that statement from him. about leadership. It's not about the title. It's about building trust. It's about always being prepared to learn and always accepting that we don't have all the answers and things. So it's definitely not about title. One of the key components of leadership for me is about building trust with your team, having that clarity and simplicity, which you've mentioned, and always be learning. And I'd just like to share some thoughts on building trust with your team. So let's think about this situation where you have just got a brand new company car and you've rolled into the car park in your new car, knowing that you've got an important customer meeting coming up. And a new member of your team approaches you as you walk into the office and says, I've got the meeting room set up, the presentation's ready, everything's in order for this customer meeting, but we haven't got any coffee. So if you give me your car keys and I will just go up the road and get some coffee. Now, this person, it's their first week in the business with you. So what would you do in that situation? Would you, without any hesitation, hand over the car keys and say, great, thank you, go and get the coffee? Or would you think, oh no, I'm going to go and ask Greg to get the coffee because he's been with the business for 22 years and I can trust him with my new car? And I think we've got to trust our team from day one and continue to build that trust. And for me, that is a key component of leadership. You trust your team and they will trust you. Vijay, I think you've got a story to share on this front.
Just a quick one. So about 3 decades ago, and that just goes to show how old I am, but about 3 decades ago, early in my career, what happened is I had just started my career and I was employed as an assistant chief accountant in this furniture company. It was a retail and manufacturing company. My background is finance. And what happened is I was recruited as an assistant chief accountant in this particular furniture company. But here's the thing, my friends, the culture was toxic times two, as I would put it. It was absolutely appalling because here's what was happening. This was run by some brothers, and what happened is they viewed everybody with suspicion, not only me, but everybody. There was micromanaging. They didn't trust anybody. There was a lot of micromanaging. And they always used to come to you and say that this is the best company to work for. You never get a company like this. And I was like, you got a point here that I wouldn't get a company like this. But the thing is, 2 months in that particular role, and I left because that was the most painful experience I had. And I just want to share this is that my last appointment in my employment was when I was a group finance and commercial director for this media research and training company. And my dear friends, the CEO, who was the majority shareholder, he had clarity in his true north, he had clarity in his vision, and he had clarity in his purpose. He was a people's purpose. He was recognizing everybody. He had that warmth. There was that connectivity. There was that respect. There was that collegiality all the way, and there was that authenticity as well. There was nothing left where there would be anybody who would be sort of wearing that proverbial mask or anything. It was completely authentic, and it was so nice to work for such a leader. And that particular company grew 20-fold, while that furniture company, in a couple of years after I left, folded. So you can imagine what it is, because your highest leverage is going to be your team. And just like what Rebecca has mentioned, you need to really, just like what Simon Sinek said, just what Rebecca just mentioned about it, you need to look after your team. If you look after your team is going to look after your particular company. Rebecca, over to you. What do you want to add, or do you want to move to the next one?
Let's move on to accountability. And for me, accountability is about our own accountability as leaders, being accountable to our team, but also for our teams to be accountable to what it is they have to achieve. And to enable us to do that, we have to have very clear outcomes and expectations of our team. We can't expect them to perform without that. So if we want them to be accountable, we have to have those clear, crystal clear outcomes and expectations agreed and discussed with them. So we're going to be talking about the 5 hindrances that will prevent us from being accountable. These are fascinating, and Vijay is going to be taking us through those. But for me, accountability, we want accountability with our team. We have to give them the autonomy to be able to do that. We have to let them lead, do what they need to do, and undertake their roles. But we can only do that when we've got that crystal clear expectation around what they need to do, and be clear that they absolutely understand it. Vijay, might be good to get into those 5 hindrances now.
Sorry, I just want to correct you, Rebecca. That's actually coming in the next one. So
The 5
yes, it's all right. No worries. It's okay. But we will be sharing the 5 hindrances, but that's in the next building
my
block.
mistake. Thank
No,
you.
that's fine. It's all right. Doesn't matter. But here's the thing, just like what Rebecca has said, is that accountability is key. Now, you must make sure that there's a difference between accountability, responsibility, and authority. So that clarity has to be there. And I always emphasize this, is that impact comes from clarity. If I ask for an orange and you give me an apple, what does that mean? There's that, it's not clear. The message is not clear. So you have to have that particular clarity. And I just want to share this particular example with you, this true story. In one particular family business, there were two brothers running this business. And there was this senior executive who was directly reporting to the brothers, but he was being bombarded with deadlines and assignments from both of them. So there was this fuzziness as to who has to do what, and he had conflicting priorities all the way, and he was really frustrated, he was really stressed, and he's saying, Vijay, how am I going to succeed if this is what is going to happen? What am I supposed to do? Because he's just been torn apart by these two brothers. That is just one example that I'm sharing with you. But there are very many others, like role duplicity, vague job descriptions, not even the job descriptions or the responsibilities. We have to evolve with the disruption taking place. There has to be that internal disruption as well, which needs to be taking place. What does that really mean? There means that there are new guidelines coming every now and again in your particular position, in whatever you do, even as a leader, as a CEO, as a board, whatever your position is, even the chief revenue officer. What's going to happen is they have to keep on evolving. And when you evolve, your capabilities change, your responsibilities change, accountability changes as well. In other words, you own it. But the owning up, the expectations will keep on changing. As the world keeps on changing, our expectations keep on changing as well along the line. So I emphasize, and both Rebecca and by the way, Rebecca is my accountability partner, and I think for the last 2.5 years, the progress I've made is just at another level. It's unthinkable. And the acceleration, the growth, and everything has allowed me to really unlock a different level of capability and a different level of confidence as well, because Rebecca always endorses what I do, and she course corrects me along the way as well. So um, it just goes to show the power of having an accountability partner. And by the way, if you want any support for your particular company, whether it's revenue growth, whether it's at board level, just reach out to Rebecca and me, and we would be happy to have a session on that to see how we can really help. Because we've been in this particular journey, and it's just been at another level altogether. Rebecca, anything you want to add?
Well, Vijay, you haven't said that you are also my accountability partner and have helped me to make a significant difference and progress as well. So it's a two-way thing here. It's a two-way thing. The other point I think is worth mentioning on accountability, and it stems with leadership as well, is that we don't have to have all the answers to everything. and we hold ourselves accountable when we say we don't know, we don't have the answers. So it's not just about holding ourselves accountable for positive things, it's being true to ourselves and saying we don't know. And that's absolutely fine to say that. And I learned this sort of the hard way, really. It was early on in my career, so I'm pleased I learned it early. But I thought as the MD, I had to have all the answers. Of course, the buck stops with me, so I was expected to know what to do. It was a very short-sighted perspective. But when I came very, very close to losing a large client and actually not knowing what we needed to do to turn that situation around, because we were meeting all the key performance indicators, I had to admit I didn't have the answers. And do you know what happened? My team came up with most amazing ideas. They rallied, we worked together, we got through it, we retained the account and kept it for the long term. So my learning in that was show your vulnerabilities, say you don't know, and help get your team to help you, because in them being accountable, they will certainly want to support you and get the solution that you're looking for. So that's another one for me to add in on accountability.
Thank you, thank you. And just quick point. Hi, Aswari. I know you are online. You said hello as well. And Parikshit, just to answer you, we will be taking questions towards the end. Yes, so definitely there's going to be a Q&A session. Moving forward to self-mastery, Rebecca, maybe you want to kick off there?
Yeah, self-mastery. We've got 4 key areas and they all start with self. So we hope they're going to be easy to remember. So self-awareness. Our self-mastery can only start when we are self-aware. Self-belief. You know, when we get that imposter syndrome coming in and tries to take us off course. But I read a very interesting article just recently that when we have imposter syndrome or we have ego, we generally tend to look at it as a negative thing. But in this article, it turned my thinking around. It said, maybe ego is actually a good thing. Maybe imposter syndrome is a good thing because it helps us to see, it's giving us a message and helping us to see what we might need to improve or do differently. So maybe I am thinking twice now about learning from any ego or imposter syndrome that I might have. So then there's self-control, and we all get tempted by different things, don't we? It's about how do we control any impulses that we might have, or any distractions that we might have. So let's be thinking about our self-control. And I don't think we talk that much these days about discipline. And for me, ultimately, it is about that self-discipline to keep going, keep making progress. And that's important as we develop our true north principles, the discipline that we're going to have to reach that vision, to achieve that true north. And this is where we can now talk about the 5 hindrances where I made a mistake earlier on.
No, that's pretty fine. But I just want to add a point which Rebecca you just mentioned, and that is about discipline. And here's, I think there was a study done by London School of Economics or one of these universities, I forget. But they say that if you do something for 66 days, you form a habit. If not 66 days, 3 months, even if you go to the gym and initially you don't like it, you start looking forward to doing what you keep on doing. So Rebecca, the point that you made is so important, is about this self-discipline is trying to shift our behavior. So it's about our approach, our behavior, our attitudes, our thinking. Once we start working towards it and forcing ourselves to do something differently, positively, of course, what's going to happen is you'll start moving towards success in a better form. But what I want to do is I want to quickly share with you these 5 hindrances to self mastery, and this I've picked it up from Zen lessons. So it's credit goes to these Zen lessons which I got these insights from. The first hindrance to self mastery is sensual desire. So, what do I mean by sensual desire? This is the temptation. For example, you are focusing on a particular journey or a particular outcome, but then you get distracted because you are tempted, because you've seen something. And let me give you an example from a business standpoint. See, you get a software. I'm just giving an example straight away, that you get this one particular piece of software which would be a catalyst or a conduit to help you to scale up or have more efficiency. But then you get so obsessed in that particular software that you lose sight of your particular journey and your particular purpose and north star. So this is the first hindrance, is the temptation. And again, this also means, when we are celebrating as well, and very many keep on looking forward to more celebrations. I'm not against celebrations, please. I'm not against anybody not celebrating. You must celebrate, you must recognize your team, and that is important. But make sure you are completely focused. That is number one. That's the first one. The second one is aversion or ill will. What I mean here is that, say you want to go swimming and it starts drizzling, but you don't like, it drizzling. What does that mean? You'd say, no, I don't want to swim today. So what happens is, or if you want to do your tax returns, many just don't like doing their tax returns. I think that's something which we can all agree upon. So here's the thing, is that there are certain things you don't like doing, and they come in your way. And again, when you have this journey, what's going to happen is you'll have this hindrance coming in, which is this aversion and ill will. The third is basically heaviness and dullness. So what do I mean by heaviness and dullness? And this is a situation where I've seen many who have sort of gone directionless, and this is where they they can't think straight. And what happens is, this is where demotivation comes in. They lack motivation. It's like that stagnation really plays a key role, and procrastination even comes into play as well. It's that dullness and heaviness you feel, and you're dragging your feet going up. So this is another key hindrance. The fourth hindrance is a big one, and that is restlessness. And this is jumping from one thing to another. Anxiety levels are high. It's just like that monkey mind jumping from one branch to another every now and again. So it's being restless, not being on one thing. I was in one particular board meeting, and there was this board member, and she was constantly on her phone. Now, that immersion was missing, the focus was missing, the contribution was missing, and we can know that it was completely shallow. And this is the observation that I've seen. I'm not saying everybody does it, but I'm giving you these few so that you get a better understanding. And the fifth one is skeptical doubt. So what do I mean by skeptical doubt? There are four elements. You have a plan, you have a strategy in place, you execute, you get results. But guess what? The results don't match your expectation, and you start doubting. And there are very many who just want to throw their towel in. And I know of a CEO who said, look, if I sell my business, I'm going to get 5 to 7 to 10 million pounds for my particular business. I can live happily ever after. But again, where is that purpose? If you don't have that purpose, if you're not ignited to having a compelling purpose, a compelling north star or a vision, then you'll be completely lost in this particular track. So skeptical doubt is another key element which really you know hinders progress moving forward. And there are four things I want to share with you. The first is patience. You need patience. The second is consistency. You need consistency as well. The third is trust. You need to trust. You need to trust yourself, and you need to trust the people you work with. And the final one is belief. Having that strong belief. I mean, I walked on fire, and there's no, it doesn't make me special, because there are very many all over the world who have walked on fire. But the point here is, it anchors a different set of belief in me, and it gives me a constant reminder of what I am capable of doing. If I can walk on fire, what else can I do? I'm not asking you to walk on fire. Please don't do this, because this was under stringent supervision. But the point here is that we need to have that strong belief system in ourselves to make that impact, to move forward and to forge forward. So here's one point I want to leave you with, and that is, come up with 5 or 10 minutes of meditation if you can. Have that calmness within yourself. And by the way, even I'm working on it, and it's I'm vulnerable as well. I have anxiety as well, so I'm working on it as well. But make sure you meditate. There are very many practices of meditation. I'm not going to go deeper into it, but you need to meditate and move forward accordingly. Rebecca, at this point, do you want to just sum up what we have covered so far so that we can move forward?
Yeah, before we jump into energy.
Yeah.
So we've talked about leadership, specific point of destination, and one question that I didn't mention, but I think it's worth considering, is asking yourself, would you like to be led by you? And be really honest with yourself and think of areas where you need to maybe improve or change or do differently. So we talked about leadership, we talked about empathy and having emotional intelligence and treating others with respect and fairness. So those were the key points on leadership. Then we had accountability, and we were talking about setting clear outcomes with the team, making it clear and having simplicity in that, focusing on the solution, making sure you focus on the solution, 80% focus on the solution, not necessarily focusing on the problem. So that was key there. Being curious, leading with incisive questions, and it's okay to say you don't have all the answers. And then we've just covered self-mastery, which is self-discipline, self-awareness, self-belief, and self-control, and the 5 hindrances which Vijay has just taken us through. So we're now going to go into energy. And by energy, we don't mean rushing up and down or rushing around the office, up and down stairs. It's the energy that we bring in terms of the vibe that we give, our positive energy that we bring to our work, and being very conscious of how we manage our energy, knowing when we've got triggers that might deplete our energy and knowing when we have to bring extra energy to a specific project or a situation. So energy control and energy management. And we all probably are aware of the fundamentals that will reignite our energy or replenish our energy. And those are the obvious ones, such as making sure we eat nutritious food, making sure that we exercise, making sure that we relax and have time out for self-care, and sleep. Now, I've been looking into the impact of sleep on our brains, and it's very interesting. The research is showing us that the impact of that is significant because while we are sleeping, toxins are being removed from our brain. And I recently watched Simon Cowell talk about the impact of sleep on his life and recognizing that he needs a huge amount of sleep. Otherwise, he just can't perform, and he's a very different person when he doesn't have that quality sleep. And I'm sure we could all probably vouch for similar things. So we have a responsibility to bring our energy to work, bring the right vibe. It's contagious. And as leaders, we must take responsibility for how we manage our energy and bringing our accountability to our energy management in the workplace. We should also think about things that trigger our energy. Maybe we have an energy slump at a certain time of day. Maybe we have tasks that drain our energy. Let's be really conscious and aware of those and understand what those triggers are and think about what we might do differently to overcome them. So energy management, Vijay, what are your points on this? You had some interesting
Great
things to
points. I
say.
just wanted to, before I go into energy, I know I've just seen the chat, and I know there's been some points, and Pravin will be definitely addressing what you have just mentioned. And Parikshit, yes, we will take some questions. I'm sorry, there wasn't much interaction because we are trying to navigate our way through this particular software of ours. So please be there, and please let us know if you are getting value and you're getting some nuggets out of what Rebecca and I have been talking, because we want you to really succeed in your particular journey, and that is what we are looking forward. So we would really appreciate if you can give us a little bit of an idea whether you are getting value as we move forward. And Rebecca, moving into energy, thank you very much. I think the points that you raise is spot on. And by the way, these points may seem intertwined, but they're very important points. And one thing is that energy all starts with our breathing as well. I mean, sleep is very important, but even the breathing exercises, recognizing the one thing that the higher self has given us, and that is, the capability of us to breathe. It's just completely refreshing. And you'll notice one thing, that while you are working, this happens with me, while I'm working, and after about 50 minutes or 55 minutes, what I do is I just go out for a short walk, even if it is out in my yard behind. But what I do is I just go for a short walk, because it helps me to breathe better, have that freshness coming in as well. But it's not only about freshness, from the breathing itself. Let me share an example with you. So this is another story, which a true observation. So I was an accountability coach for this one particular company, and the CEO, whenever he came in, it was like, the mood was low, everybody was scared. So he had this temper as well. So everybody were completely sort of, you could see the productivity going down as well. Everybody were working in fear. And I observed this and I said, what is happening? And obviously the root cause was the energy levels were low. So I had this session with the CEO, and long story short, what happened is I told the CEO, here are 3 or 4 things I want you to do. The first is express gratitude for 3 things every single day. What are you grateful for every single day? Number two, recognize your team with authenticity. Feel it within, centering, as we say. So it has to be centered, and you need to feel it. So recognize your team effort as well. And the third thing is, I said that before you lose your temper, just just calm yourself down, because after 5 minutes of just being calm, we have a system within ourselves as well, that it doesn't trigger our anger if you just keep yourself calm for a certain point. So I told him, just do these few things. And what happened is, after about 3 weeks or so, the energy level changed in that particular company. The productivity changed. There was more clarity. There was more confidence in coming up with ideas as well. So everything started changing for the better. And he could see the results as to what this was really doing to the whole the entire pipeline of processes, as well as the team itself. So the point here is, my dear friends, it's not about time management, it's about energy management. As executives, as consultants, as leaders, as directors, whatever position we are, it's that productivity which comes from energy. And just like what, Rebecca, you mentioned about sleep, health is very important, nutrition is so very important. And we know what to avoid, what are the criteria that we need to have, what sort of foods we have to make sure that our energy levels are at a higher level. And that is what is going to help you to really progress and to really help you to move forward. But one thing I want to share with you that has just come in my mind is that your energy levels to be at its highest, one key component is making sure that you have a compelling purpose, a compelling North Star, and a compelling vision, which you are completely connected to. Just like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, or look at some of these leaders out there who are completely drawn into that particular element of purpose, vision, and North Star. So I emphasize, we both, Rebecca and I, we both emphasize that please work on these elements, because it's going to really help you to see things differently. It will, on a Monday morning, everybody would be ignited and excited to go to work, because I normally see that sometimes, there are these employees or some executives that I talk to, and they drag going to work on a Monday. It should not be the case. You need to have that line of thinking which is aligned to your purpose, vision, and your North Star. Rebecca?
In fact, VJ, it reminds me of a funny story. When I had my own business, and I used to dread going to work on a Monday morning. But I had a lot of passion for my business. I absolutely loved what I did. The business was growing. But it's because the first thing on a Monday morning, I had a meeting with one of my team members, and we would look at the week ahead, and she would give me 101 reasons why things shouldn't be done. And it drained my energy. And so I thought, I'm going to tackle this. So I said, unless you can give me 101 reasons why something should be done, then we're going to have to part company. And the penny dropped. But it's that energy that somebody gives off, isn't it? It's that, oh my goodness, we've all been in meetings where the energy is so low, it drains us. But as leaders, we have a responsibility to manage our energy. So let's move into resilience. And again, if you've got questions, please put them in chat. Unfortunately, I can't see them on my phone because I think my broadband width can't take it. So VJ, you have to rely on the questions your end, unfortunately.
Yes, please, Parikshit, bear with us. I know there is some question you got for Rebecca, I believe, regarding the coffee, but we will definitely come to it. Let us just finish this resilience bit, and then we'll come to the questions and we'll interact as well moving forward. So please bear with us as we move forward. So Rebecca, over to you on resilience.
Yeah, I think of resilience as your reservoir of resilience, and that you have to keep expanding it. And the only way that you can expand your resilience is to take on bigger challenges that put you outside of your zone of comfort. So for me, having a growth mindset is resilience is an absolute cornerstone of having a growth mindset. And a growth mindset is where we see opportunities as learning. We are prepared to step outside our comfort zone and take a risk. Doesn't matter if we fail, we'll learn from that failure. But it's seeing things from a different perspective, seeing things as opportunities, making a paradigm shift on something that might seem very difficult and concerning and challenging to us. We can turn it around, and we can often see the opportunity or the learning in it. And the more that we build our resilience, the more risks we can take, the bigger the steps that we can take that push us outside of our comfort zone. For me, it's absolutely key that we build our resilience. For me, something very simple is creating more video content. That's taken me time over a number of years to step out and do some videos, do a live event like this, whatever it might be for you. It doesn't have to be a very big thing. It can just be something that concerns you, and you step outside of your comfort zone, you take it on board, and you give it a go, and you learn from it, and you will improve. A tip that I'd like to share: when you face a challenge and you know it's maybe going to test your resilience, is to keep a list of things where you've had challenges and you've overcome them and you've got through them. And when you face a new challenge, just go and look at that list, and that will help you build your confidence about taking the bold step to embrace something new, to take on a new challenge. Because it starts with taking that bold step. We've got to be brave. We've got to step outside the comfort zone and take that first step. And when we take that first step, we build our competence. And when we build our competence, we build our confidence. And that's what this is about, step by step, stepping outside of our comfort zone and taking that first brave step to give it a go. A story I'd quickly like to share, because I know VJ has some great stories to share on this as well, but do you know that if you had a container with fleas in it, they would jump to the top of that container, to the lid, to the top. But if you take the lid off, the fleas still only jump to the top of that container, despite the fact that they could jump further than that because the lid is no longer there. And my point is, we need to expand our comfort zone. We need to broaden it so that we can step out into overcoming bigger challenges, new opportunities, and grow ourselves as a result. It's our own personal growth and development. And I think you have something similar, VJ, don't you? A similar story to share?
Yes, but I think you really summed up it very well, Rebecca. You know, the way you articulated the whole concept of resilience and why it's so important. And here's what I normally say is that, 80% focus on the solution, 20% identify the root problem. So it's that 80-20 principle again, but being proactive, having that growth mindset, just like what Rebecca you mentioned, and being that proactive person. And here's the thing is that, for the timid, change is frightening. For the timid, change is frightening. For the comfortable, and there are very many who are comfortable, for the comfortable, change is threatening. For the comfortable, change is threatening. But for the confidence, change is an opportunity. So they always look at it as an opportunity. And just like what Rebecca said, is that confidence comes when you're competent, and competence comes from knowledge, skills, and experience. And how can you really build your confidence is when you're curious as well. And curiosity comes in when you ask incisive questions, which is going to lead to impact. That is what is going to lead you to new insights and innovation as well, and breakthroughs as well. So that is where the impact comes from. So resilience is a core component in whatever you do. For example, from business perspective, say you've got a business and you lose, say, 20% of your revenue because one of your biggest clients left. What do? Now you can't just moan and just say, gosh, what has happened? You need to look for solutions. You need to brainstorm. You need to, give that security to everybody that, okay, fine, this has happened. Let us look for solutions. Let us see what we can really do. How can we co-create? How can we collaborate? How can we come up with some synergistic insights, or what can we do to really step back? And this is called, basically, you know it's a retreat strategy. It means that you are stepping back, but at the same time you're looking into opportunities that you can get from whatever adversity you face. And I just want to share this one small analogy here, is that think of a koi fish. If you put a koi fish in a fish bowl, what's going to happen? The koi fish will remain 2 inches. But take the same koi fish and put it in a river, and the koi fish will grow 12 inches. Now, what has changed? It's the environment, my dear friends. It's the environment. You and I, we live in an environment where we need to expand our capability, where we need to grow, where we need to really, confront reality, confront certain brutal truths as well, and the uncertainties that we are going to face. So these are going to happen, and we have to really take this, because without challenges, there's just going to be stagnation, and that's not what we want. We need to have that upkeep. We need to keep on moving. We need to climb a mountain, which is going to be slightly difficult as well. There are going to be steep slopes, and there are going to be areas where you're finding it difficult, and there are times when you'll even slip down that particular mountain. But the ones who are resilient are the ones who are going to keep on climbing. They look for other ways. They look for another different course, but they will climb. They'll have their own approach. They'll have their own way of doing it. They'll start mastering the skills and move accordingly. So that is what I just wanted to share as far as resilience is concerned. Rebecca?
The next step now, as we come to a close, is to share with you a link where you can have access to a workbook. Are you able to share that, VJ? Or
Uh,
it
okay,
might
okay.
be
Hang on, hang on,
DMS.
hang on. Hang on.
Well,
I think, hold on. I'm going to try something that I've not tried in the past, but let me know if you have got that particular link. Has everybody seen
oh,
that
looks.
particular link? I think there is a link which I've shared, which you can download. I can see that I've got a YouTube link and a Facebook link. I don't know why I'm got it. Look, I'll post it separately on the LinkedIn, but there is a link on YouTube and my Facebook page. But if you're not on YouTube, it doesn't matter. I'll put it on LinkedIn as well. Rebecca, sorry about that, but trying to
Okay.
get
The
through
workbook
all this?
the workbook is something you could work through with your team, and I can see that one of the questions now I found where the questions are. Dr. Praveen, you could use the workbook to work through with your team to help develop your true north. That's one of the questions that you've asked there. The other point we'd like to offer you is an opportunity to come and have a conversation with us around developing your true north and building out your true north statement. And so if you would like to do that, have a conversation with us, it's 45 minutes to 60 minutes, and we will help you get clarity around that and build your true north statement. So if you'd like to do that, simply just DM VJ or myself on LinkedIn, and we will get that set up. So I think now we're ready for questions, VJ. I'm just having a quick look through.
Yes, Praveen has asked, would
See,
you like to hear how teams contribute to achieving true north? Rebecca?
well, I think it's got to be a collaborative process, and get your team involved in setting out your true north. And you could use the workbook. Would you be happy? Would you think that'd be a good place to go, VJ, to start using that
Yes,
workbook and ask your teams to
yes,
complete
yes.
it
But
and
let
have a
me,
discussion?
sure. Let me share a few building blocks, Praveen, which will help you um, in having your team contribute to the true north. Here's what I would suggest: is get your team together to begin with, have a session, make it about 3 hours session. That's what I would say. Be very clear about uh, your why, which is your purpose. Be very clear about your vision, but be very clear about the true north. True north means your moral compass. It's about how you're going to navigate, how you're going to align uh, the purpose and the vision. And here's the thing: is that I know, Praveen, you're a consultant as well, so I'll give you some tips as to what you can do for your clients. Is that do a culture audit, work on having a culture audit. Very few do this. Go and appraise and do a culture audit for your clients. And here's what's going to happen: is that when you do a culture audit, that will give you an alignment, and you will have a stronger true north. Let me share. Do you mind if I share my true north? So you get a feel as to what this really means. So true north is to empower, and I'm talking about I, we are coming together on growing effectiveness as well. So my true north statement is to empower every leader to reach and then she'll ask me, okay, fine, Vijay, you got your true north. What about your purpose? So my purpose is to equip leaders with the skills, confidence, and strategic foresight they need to navigate disruptions, because we are in a world where disruption is common, achieve board level success, because that's where run to director comes in, and create organizations that leave a positive on the world. And so you'll say, all right, fine, that's good. What about your vision? So my vision is a future where every board is a force for the positive change, driving
I'm not sure if I'm still live. Can you hear me? Oh, are we back? I'm not sure if I'm back with you now or not, so I hope you can hear me. We seem to be having some issues here with connectivity, but I think we are really close to. I am live. Thank you for each. Yeah. If you have any questions, please put those in. And VJ, you're back. Oh my goodness, we've lost connection. VJ, you are back. So what I'm going to suggest is that we seem to have some connectivity issues. Please drop DM VJ or myself with any questions that we've not addressed. If you'd like to have a further conversation with us to help develop your true north and get your true north statement. And we hope that you have found this useful, enjoyable. And if you have, please give us some thumbs up and we will be very appreciative of that. So there doesn't seem to be any more questions at this stage. I think we will close. Thank you very much for joining us. And
Rebecca, can you hear me?
Yes, VG, I can hear you. I'm just saying we're just wrapping up.
I am so sorry. I don't know what has happened. Yeah, it's just something happened, and I apologize. But can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, VJ. I was just sort of wrapping up as we have sort of connectivity problems going on here. So I just suggested if anybody has any questions or would like to get in touch with us, just message us on LinkedIn. And Parikshit, thank you, saying you can hear us now. Apologies for that. But if there's no questions, we we'll draw to a close.
Yes, what we'll do is, in fact, this is another point on resilience. I think what you really need to do is we are take this as an opportunity to reach out to Rebecca and me so that we can really help you, not only answer your questions but even help you in creating your true north statement as well. So thank you very much. We're sorry about this, but we look forward to seeing you in the next event, and I hope you got value out of this, and thank you very much. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.